Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another session. For today, we're going to be taking a look at the energies, the collective energies for us, the collective, in the month of July 2025. Now, immediately I'm getting that even though we are looking at these energies as they exist, as they currently stand at this time, July 2025, that the energies that are being made known to us will be hanging around, a lot of them for the next 3 months at least. Some of them I'm hearing the next 3 years. I'm hearing four of them the next 3 years. I don't know what that four is because I haven't even started to channel yet. Well, actually, I have because I'm already saying this, but and as I have all these cards like built up in front of me, and I just looked at this and look, her cute fingers are like four fingers. So I'm not sure exactly what those four are. Oh my God, guys, stop. I even just saw this. I just random four extra cards. So over the next 3 months, some over the next 3 years and 4 years, right? So just keep that in mind and do what you will with that. And as you know, these sessions are very much interactive. So by that I mean I'm speaking to you and energies that are speaking through me as well. And the you that we're speaking to immediately, the way I perceive of them is multiple levels. So I'm looking at I'm engaging and interacting with you guys in ways that you may be asking questions and wanting to know personal things. So also keep an eye out for any personal messages to come through. Okay. So I'm just going to get quiet a second and just now that I've said all that gentle spieling, let me see if I can just embody these energies a little bit more. Okay. One sec. Oh, there it is. Just before I jumped, I heard them say, okay, that's it. We got it. All right. So, okay, I get it. They're like, we needed to get a little bit more into the field. All right. So, welcome back. Earlier, when I was turning on the camera, I heard the words, welcome to the academy. Like I needed to say that to you guys. So immediately that reminds me that not too long ago, the guides had told me that I would be working with, I think they said 69 new healers who were waking up. And obviously, some of that is in the non-physical and whatnot. And I guess some things are already going down. I don't know where, what level of the field, when you're going to sleep, what's happening, right? But I know I'm learning a lot these days because I learn through my guides. Like we sit and we learn and we talk and during the day and of course when we're sleeping. And I imagine that so do you guys as well. So I guess I'm welcoming your conscious mind awareness to Academy, but I feel that we are all already well engaged in that process. So what I'm going to do is a little bit different. While I'm sitting here and channeling, our team is going to be working with, working with those of you who are here for um, spiritual counseling, they're saying. I hear that some of you may have I heard some of you and I heard one of you. So again, we're talking multidimensionally. So we'll just we'll just talk to everybody. Some of you may be here with some health challenges or things that you're doing that may pose a health challenge. We're going to be talking to some of you about that. And when I say talking to some of you, we're talking about engaging with your consciousness in an unconscious way. So if you're like me a little bit, like I can pick up, I can have these multidimensional conversations from a conscious mind standpoint. So if you're like that and you're clairaudient or you're telepathic or you're very sensitive to the energy, you may be hearing these, but also be audibly hearing them chat with you or me chat with you on different levels of the field. And if you're not in this moment that you're watching, perceiving of that, do not worry, you're already receiving it. By the time you perceive it, you've already received it, right? Hey, hey, you guys like that? Thinky, thinky, thinky. I'm just kidding. Somebody in the back just, got lit a little bit by those rhymes. But anyway, you're already receiving it. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a couple things with you guys. They're like laughing. They're like, can we get back to this? Yes, we can. So, and something about this just gives me vibration. So recently, some of you may have been noticing or picking up on this concept of vibration, of sound, of energy being made manifest. And of course, when we talk about vibration being made manifest, we know that. everything we see and engage with here is the physical manifestation of vibration, of frequency, right? We also understand when we talk about vibration, we're talking about things that we're hearing. We also understand that in alignment with the law of vibration, which says that anything that you receive or experience in your world is a reflection of the vibration that you have already put out into the world. And I know that could be a little bit challenging for a lot of people who are struggling to kind of step into understanding, because we're trying to understand it, right? Into understanding the larger conversation about personal responsibility and agency and volition, and how we are responsible for the world that we experience. It's a hard discussion to talk to with a lot of people because a lot of them are still, and I say them, I mean us, me too, depending on the button that is being pressed, the wound that is being pressed within us, right? We're still in that victim consciousness, which was a very big component of the age of Pisces. But right now, if you know well by now, we're moving out of the age of Pisces, and we have been, and we're transitioning into the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is about stepping into personal responsibility, greater understanding of self, understanding that everything outside of you is the F word. And wait, before you fill in what that you think that F word is, it's oh my God, I was going with one F word and I heard another one. The one I heard them say is fundamentals, but wow, they replaced what I was going to say with, what was I going to say? Thank you. Feedback. Everything outside of you is feedback. From what? From you. You are the very emitter that is emitting and building up the world around you that you see. Now, the reason why they also added another F here, fundamentals, is because it goes back to the fundamentals of the universe, the laws of the universe, right? So if you go and you look at seven, this, oh, okay, thank you. I was gonna say, if you look at the up at, your little Googlings and look up laws of the universe, depending on who you work with or what source you're looking at, you may find as little as 7 laws, or even less if that's what they're working with. You may find extra laws, more laws. It all depends on how it's categorized, but you may also be aware of the 7 hermetic laws, right? But either way, I would start with that one. Go ahead and look that up. But at the end of the day, what we experience and what we can talk about, right? As the Tao, the first line of the Tao says, if anything that can be expressed is not the real Tao. So the fact that we're even talking about the laws tells us already that we're just at a level of perspective where we experience it and observe it as 7, but it's actually a derivation of one law. And that one law is everything is mind. Everything is consciousness. And then you may ask, well, whose consciousness? Who's the dreamer? Whose thoughts are these things representing? Yours. And then you have to wonder, well, who am I? You know who you are, your source. In reality, you are the one. But that's why they say, I and my father are one, but my father is greater than I. It sounds super religious, all this and that. If you follow this channel, you know that I don't go on the religious bout. I really try to stay as neutral as possible, and I work more from energy. And so when you're working from energy and you're feeling and you're experiencing and you're gleaning beyond the physical, you perceive of something, and then you understand how that has manifested in different thought forms and different ideologies, discourses, and even physicalities here on the planet. So for those of you, I'm talking so fast that like I can't even swallow quickly enough, right? So for those of you who have religious programming, surprise all of us over lifetimes and in this lifetime as well, then you may remember that concept. I and my father are one, but my father is greater than I. In other words, things like I made in the image and likeness of the father, and just anything else, all that stuff you can think about. At the end of the day, it simply boils down to everything is one. Okay? It's just one. And that's the reality of oneness. And we've talked about this before. That's the reality. It just is. In that state of oneness where everything is, there's no comparison. There's no dualistic state. So there's no Jonelle. Oh, I know. There's no poly, there's no any of these guys. There's no tall, there's no short, because for there to be short, it has to be tall. And if for us to be able to even have these descriptors, we have to have some type of subject that we are describing, right? None of that. It just is all. But once we step into this hypothetical, because that's now we're not no longer in the reality, we're in the hypothetical state of duality. Now we've shifted from knowing into perception. That is fragmentation. It is separation. It is you, me, black, white, up, down, polarity. That's one of the laws of the universe. Everything in the universe is in polarity, right? Because it has to be. And we hear things like, oh, well, why did we separate and blah, blah, blah. Um, why did this event occur and all of that? And we've heard things like, oh, well, that's because Source wanted to observe itself. And I heard it said very beautifully one at I think it was by Matias de Stefano. I love his work. He said the way to think about it is imagine Source like being this huge library full of books and knowledge. But and that's just the source, right? But then when we have a point of comparison and one can observe the other revolving around each other and observing the other, right? Then the analogy is like someone finally being able to read the books in their own library that they are, right? And so it's just some sacred dance that Source does with itself. And here we are in creation. And here's another thing you often hear about the sparks of the divine, the fragments of Source, the pieces of the whole. But what you are doing and what you're being and what you're temporarily experiencing is just being one beautiful, lovely, amazing perspective of what? Of all that is. And you, as that little chip of all that is, oh, literally, look at this. Look, all that is with these polarities, right? You're just one. Your soul is bing, one vibration out of that, right? It's one perspective. And here it is, crystallized all the way down to this physical state of being. So consciousness, so focused and crystallized all the way down in differentiation, because when there's one, there's no differentiation, but then when you have two, and then you have others, this is the process of differentiation and individuation. You have you so crystallized and so in your belief. Remember, there's no separation in reality because we're all inside and like having this little dance, right? But you're so crystallized in this sense of identity needed in order to individuate that you actually have a name. Your name confers or reflects rather, or confers, whichever, your function. The sounds of your name give you these beautiful functions. You have a birthday. The birthday is when you incarnated onto this physical planet, into this physical plane, taking on the energies and the qualities of the different zodiacs, right? So if you want to see what your personality profile is, your challenges and your gifts and the things you know will struggle with and all of this stuff, astrology is a beautiful way to look at it. If you want to understand the age that you're in, we're moving into the age of Aquarius and what that means not only for you and your every day when you look at a certain post online and you're feeling away and or you want to understand what your country is going through or how people are relating to each other in the collective, or you want to look at humanity from a macroscopic view and understand how we have been evolving throughout the ages, you know, from the age of Leo all the way here to this, all the way here to this age of Aquarius that we're shifting into. This is just you understanding yourself, because everything is you, along different levels of the field, right? So, um, this is why they're saying to me when I was telling you guys, when you look outside of you, you understand as you grow and you mature, you start to really get it and you start to understand, oh, everything outside of me is feedback. The question you should always ask yourself is, what level of consciousness am I observing my world from? If you are observing, let's keep it even simple. We all have people in our lives. We see people on TV, we meet acquaintances, we see people out in the street who react to things in different ways. Maybe you're at the post office minding your business, drinking your water, minding your business, and you see the teller tell the person, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we're out of stamps for today," or "We're out of the cute stamp that you wanted." And this person melts down immediately. If you've studied any kind of therapy, if you've done any work on yourself, you'll be like, "Oh, okay, so this person is having a meltdown because there's some type of trauma, some type of lack of ability to process this unsavory event in their life. Something is going on with them to make them respond to them, the teller not having the design of stamps that they want for a letter, right? They're breaking down, they're calling people names, their ugliness is coming out, or maybe they're crying, now they're getting belligerent, all sorts of stuff. We're watching people spin out because of seemingly little things, but we can pen that. We also understand, just looking at psychology, that when somebody gets bent out of shape energetically, from the energetic level, by the way, in viewing someone's field, you literally see that bending. So these terms come from energy, right? And we don't realize it. They get bent out of shape. We realize, oh, well, they're acting like a 2-year-old. Immediately, you understand that there has to have been some type of trauma at their age 2 or 3 that has not been looked at, that has not been addressed, that has not been healed. And so therefore, when they get triggered, they act out in that way. This is just basic understanding. And then on top of that, you as the observer, when you look at something like that go on in the post office, what's the reflection on you? What does that reflect about you? Do you then go into judgment? Oh, this person is this. You get involved. Do you start cursing them out? Do you see a scene where you have to protect the teller? Do you see it, or do you see a scene where you think, well, this is the person's right to ask for this stamp, and it's your job to have it stocked at all times? And like, what does it bring within you? And in your daily life, it's that question you always want to ask. It doesn't matter what you see outside of you. Just understand that it is a reflection of an energy that is in your own consciousness that you may not understand why you're the teller, why you're the person having the breakdown, why you're the person in front of you who's just like, oh, I'm too busy for this, and leaves without even letting it affect them, why you're you observing it and having all these thoughts in your mind, why you're the security guard who hates his life but he's here, why you're that little kid who's living for this excitement in his day. Why are you all those people? Why are you the post office? You may not understand why those energies and how those energies are reflecting you back to you. But from an energetic standpoint, it's clear it's in your consciousness, because you're more than just your personality in this lifetime. You've had many lifetimes. You may not know it, but that very scene you're witnessing may be an instructional moment for you, because in multiple lifetimes, you've been some of those people, in like some you not maybe not the same person, but you have had similar dynamics with other people, and now you get in this lifetime to observe it, and you're making choices inside. If you're rolling up in terms of mastery, then you're understanding that as you walk this world, you're understanding that everything is an energetic reflection. It's feedback from what a vibration that you're putting out, and how you feel and how you think about what you're observing, how you feel about what you're observing, what you say about what you're observing, what you tell yourself about what you're observing, what you do in reaction to what you're observing. All of this is you feeding the field based on what you're seeing in the field. So you're looking at you and you're making everything have a meaning. And then you're choosing how to see it. You're choosing how to think about it. You're choosing how to speak about it. You're choosing how to react to it or respond if you're being mindful and reflecting and then making a good choice, right? So the whole point is everything outside of you is just your own consciousness pushed outward. And how you move throughout your day and how you choose to react or respond is really just reflecting back to you an awareness of how ready you are to take on a higher or more in-depth or more complex, whatever you want to say, or more mature sense of reflection, right? It's interesting that they're talking about this. Now, something I wanted to talk to you about is this idea of consciousness. When we think about, oh, it's your own consciousness pushed outside, if you're viewing it from the perspective of your victimhood or from, like I said, you're still not past certain wounds, so you're still in it, you're in triage mode. So you haven't like moved out of triage mode enough to reflect on something, you're going to see a concept like that, the concept being, oh, everything that you see outside in your world and what you make of it is a reflection of your own consciousness. You're going to see that as victim blaming. You're going to see that as you not getting a chance to be seen and heard and your needs met and this and that. That's actually not the reality. If you think about it instead in a different way, and you call in the missing link in this world. The missing link is an understanding of energy. We understand physicality, we're struggling to do it, but when you start to understand how the physical world actually is a response, it's a feedback pattern, it is a reflection, it is a carbon copy of what's going on in the non-physical. Until you understand that, you will be walking the world blindly, right? And so let's look at it this way. Your consciousness is all about your I am. And this corresponds to your crown chakra, if you want to pull that in, if you want to pull in the chakras. Your I am at that seventh level, at that level of your energy field, your auric field, your I am is your self-concept. What is your self-concept? Don't even think about anything for a second. Think about your self-concept. What is your Oh, look, they're like communication, co-creation. Yes. What is your self-concept? Because I'm like, should we be talking about this? And they're like, yes, yes, we're talking about it. Okay, so we're going to run through it. What's your self-concept? And I want you to reflect on that. If you have to pause, go ahead and get your pause on. Because you may say, I'm this and I'm that and I'm blah, 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 blah. But let's keep it 100. If you roll into a session with me or your lovely other local friendly energy workers, and we'll help you see, oh, actually, you're carrying around some very self-denying, self-destructive ideas about yourself. Like what? Well, I am not good enough. I am not a woman. I am like in my feminine, whatever that means to you. I am not worthy. I am, and here's a big one, age of Pisces, big one. I am a victim, right? I'm a victim. I am not strong enough. I am subordinate to what? Age of Pisces, institutions, gurus, governments, man-made laws. The list goes on. Culture. I am a follower. We even have language for this. I am a sheep. I need to be rescued. By what? This isn't, I heard this term before and it's coming up, a sky daddy, right? My God, what is this? I need to be rescued by a sky daddy. Who dat? For some of you, that is a religious figure. For some of you, that is your loved one who's passed on and is now an angel. For some of you, that is an ET, from your homeland or from somewhere, for some of you, it's Mother Nature. Who's here to rescue you, right? These are programs. So when you start to understand your self-concept, we'll use her, she's super cute. Look at your self-concept, it corresponds to that seventh chakra. I am what? What are you? The reality of what you are, and this is the course correction. And this is why we say, I am that I am. First of all, like, what does that even mean? Like, can somebody help us out? Illuminate us? I am that I am is a really lovely, cute way, discursive way, because we can talk in many discourses, esoteric, occultist, ufology, religious, spiritual, new age. We could talk about it. So scientific, artistic, whatever you want to call it, poetic. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful way of saying I am all that is. I am all of creation. I am source. I am oneness, the one. Now, some of you are programmed by your religions to think that even equating yourself with the one, who many of us will call God and this and that, and the cosmic this and all that stuff, you'll think of that as arrogance. Because how could you ever be on the level of? But that shows you don't understand what you are. They're showing this. Look at this beautiful flower. Super cute. Look at all of these petals. Look at all of these derivations. Let's use the P word. Look at all of these perspectives of what? The one. They are all in and of the one. No petal is off somewhere else. Where is there to go? There's nowhere else to go. There's no separation. It's a macrocosm. You're just one point in what? The universal time matrix, where we have the perception of time and space and dimensions. When you're in the state of oneness, we don't have all of that. But when there's the function of what? Reflection, polarity, duality for the sake of self-observation, self-engagement, self-understanding. When we're in this state, now we can have dimensions, we can have densities, we can have perspectives, we can have time, we can have space, we can have all sorts of other things that we can talk about. We can have tall, we can have short, we can have forgiveness, we can have condemnation. But remember, for example, if we can have salvation, all that stuff in the state of oneness where what could you do wrong? What could possibly be wrong for you to then be punished, to feel guilty about it, to be shamed, and then somebody outside of you has to forgive you for it, and then you have to make it up, and and all of that is all the realm of perception. So we're in this realm of perception, but there are higher levels of perception than others. If you perceive of yourself to be a loser, that's what you're affirming in your I am self-concept. At the seventh level in your seventh chakra, that energy of self-concept that gives drive, that precipitates throughout the rest of your field, that conditions the world that you see, that calls matter into molecularization, all that around you to create this physical world that you see, and to temper everything within you is running off that low vibe, low frequency, extremely false sense of self. I'm a loser. That's literally you saying, I deny myself. That is self-denial. That is, I am not. Okay? The truth is, you are. But when you're in the I am not, which is the hypothetical state, what if I were something else? The truth is you're one, but what if I were two? What if I were blah blah blah? But if you're in that really low self-concept, you're in the lower octaves, the lower expressions of self-concept. And so you will experience timelines, worlds, people, things. You'll go and get the cutest dog at the shop. It'll turn out to be like God knows what, right? Cujo or something. God bless Cujo. God rest, right? Because the frequency with which you are creating and moving through space and all of that is low. Now, at the higher levels of perception, because it's all perception, remember, source is neutral. There's no good, no bad, no up, no down, whatever. But here we are in the realm of duality and polarity, one of the laws of the universe, the law of polarity. When you're in that space, if you're vibing at a higher level of perception, I am joyful, that is closer to your reality than I'm a loser, I'm depressed, I'm a victim, I'm a destructive force, I'm a this, I'm a that. Now, in polarity, each of us has within us the polarities, the light and the shadow, this and that. And you can't just get rid of all the shadow and just be light. You can't just get rid of all the light and just be shadow. You want to be neutral. Look at her. Neutral. And what is she doing? I know her eyes are closed, God bless, but she's observing this middle point of these polarities. So when you're out in the world and you're engaging with this world, you're going to see good and bad according to your mindset. You're going to see up and down. You're going to see hard and easy. You're going to see pretty and ugly. You're going to see all of this. You're going to see love and fear. But your gift is free will. Now, free will has different expressions depending on the level of incarnation you are. Right here, you're in the physical. So free will is going to be looking different from your level of free will at your soul level, right? And the level of free will at the spirit level. It's just going to be different expressions. Just like the law is actually one law at the level of spirit. But here, all the way down here, it's put into 7 laws here. That's what we observe it as, right? Things look different here because we're in a different level of experience. But from this level, you need to get it, you need to really understand why it is important to work with your self-concept. When you start to work towards cultivating, because everything on earth school is a practice, when you cultivate the concept of yourself as being your highest self, your highest expression, you are spirit, you are intact. There's no fragmentation in the mindset. There's no false programming hanging out. It gives you a direction to move towards. Now, a lot of you are still plugged into the negatives of your religions, your philosophies, your family learnings, your culture, and those give you directions in the opposite way. And when I say direction, it means, oh, well, for example, a lot of religions carry this guilt and obedience. That will forever, and that's not what God is about, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering, that will forever orient you to what? To being enslaved to a mindset that is not your reality. That's obedience to false laws here on this planet. And just to show you how false these laws and these learnings are, I mean, go ahead and travel to the next city and see how some of your beliefs fall flat. You may travel to another country and a whole concept doesn't even exist. And that's why we can't even translate it into the English language. We have to use their word for it. Because we don't have it. It doesn't exist. Now imagine when you go into the non-physical levels of the field, you're just seeing more. For example, in the physical body, God bless us, we have done such a great job of mapping the physical body. Great job, guys. And I'm talking not only here in Western medicine, but we're talking about Eastern medicine and whatever medicines we want to use. I'm using this because it's discursively discussed, right? It's all parts of what? The whole when we're looking at the physical body. But the reality of it is when you look at your body, you have, oh, look, there's a body. When you look at your body, if you're looking at it from the perspective of physicality and you're tuning into the physical level, you're going to work at the physical body. If you're at the level of your physical body and you're using your metaphysical abilities, your clairsentience, your clairaudience, your clairgoustience, all of that to tune into the etheric level of the body, to tune into the emotional level of the body, and the what's the next one? The mental body, and then the astral body, and then what was it? What's the next one? The etheric template level. And then you're looking at the celestial level. And then you're looking at the etheric level. You're looking at different reflections of you. The physical body is just, boom, carbon copy. You will always be managing symptoms at this level, whether you're cutting things off, making your life longer because you're doing this and that. So when things are in the physical body, we must go and we must tend to them using physical stuff to heal the physical body, but you're not healing anything. You are just managing the body. But the body takes its cues from its non-physical levels of the field. That's why when we look into your super cute energy field, your auric field, we're reading you like a book. When you look into your own field, you're reading yourself like a book. And on top of that, then we can show you why you have this physical problem. We can show you how this physical issue, this psychological disturbance is a symptom of the root problem, which goes where? To your belief system. It's all your beliefs. Because guess what? You are the product of what? Your consciousness. Remember that what we were talking about? This I am? What are you? If you believe yourself to be certain things, and those things are lower frequencies of self, lower expressions, all you're doing is you're harming yourself. You're literally denying the self. And what that does is it creates structures in your field. So when you're thinking low self-thought, where are those blockages going? If it's now blocking, the energetic anatomy around the heart space, and by the way, the energetic anatomy on some levels of the field look just like the physical body anatomy. But because they're in the non-physical field, they actually have other parts to them than your physical body has, because the physical body is not the real body. It is just a vessel, right? And so it gives us pause when we realize, oh, I've been assuming is the word they're saying, assuming now. I've been assuming this about myself. They're like, because it could only be assumption outside of reality, which is all knowing, all provision. This is divine providence. There's no fracturing, there's no separation, so there's no void to fill. There's no void to fill with false ideas about yourself. But in this, state of duality, which the universe is in, God bless, it's a step down in consciousness, and it's steps further down. Step downs in consciousness means you're losing more and more vision of reality till we're down here and we just out here, eyes closed, just listening to all these things and people outside of us telling us about ourselves. You're getting yourself sick by that, right? So you go back to your I am, you work on what you believe yourself to be, you observe outside of you what your experiences are, because your experiences outside of you will reflect back to you what you believe to be true about yourself. That's the law of correspondence, right? The law of the looking at the seven laws, the seventh one that is associated with this seventh chakra is the law of mentalism. Everything is mine. And that's the truth of the one law. Everything is mind, it's consciousness, right? But here in this embodied state, we're experiencing that one law broken down into seven. And at the seventh level there, the seventh law, everything is consciousness. Whose consciousness? Mine, my self-concept. All this stuff I have in my mind about past lifetime stuff and how I feel about myself, and I'm so ugly and I'm so this or I'm so this and blah, blah, blah. It's just playing outside of you. And you're watching it on the news, you're looking at it, the people in the post office, you're seeing it in your children. It's you. It's everything is reflecting the way you believe about yourself. And that goes back to what we talked about. The more you spiritually evolve and mature, the more you get centered in what? Personal responsibility. That's when you start to understand, oh, I take responsibility for what? My projections. I get it. I see it. I understand that, oh, when I was in that last relationship, that person was reflecting back to me my need to be controlled. I thought that I was the controlling one. I thought they were the controlling one. I thought their mother-in-law was, or I thought this, or I just gave myself blindly to do whatever it is that you were thinking. When you have that moment of clarity, it's never about the other person, it's about you. And then what happened? You no longer feel that electrical charge to this person, this actor in your world, because you have owned what? Your role in it. You've learned something. The lesson was learned. It told you the only thing that anything in your life could ever tell you, which is back to this seventh law. It tells you what you believe about yourself. And so when we see people spinning out in the world and having fights and doing this and that, yes, there's a time and place, but you best believe there's some work that needs to be done there too. When you get clear about your self-concept and you work on that, and you must, by spiritual law, when you really start to clear up and heal and really shift and have these aha moments and shifts in perception that bring you back into alignment with what? Your actual higher self. And you're no longer self-denying at that level. You will start to see the changes in your physical world. You could be living in a world of wars and not one arrow will touch you. And I know that sounds hard for a lot of people to get because it's like, oh, like, what are you talking about? And da, 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 da. And that's not for me to convince you. I'm here to share with you this this energetic channel transmission to you. And I will tell you from a personal standpoint, it's true because I have so many stories to share, but one literally I wrote down earlier today, and I guess I needed to share it. But they reminded me about this one time. My God, guys, I was going through it. And I remember I was in so much fear with something I was going through. And then and maybe one of you watching it, you're gonna know this is you, that you helped me with, like you played a part in this, like helping me see this law here. But we were chatting and you in a group and you told me that you had a dream about me, and you do dream work, by the way. So you travel through dreams and stuff. But so you're a dream walker, right? So you'll know who you are. Um, but you had a dream about me, and in the dream, you told me some stuff, and you told me about this woman that you saw in the dream, and you described her and her qualities and just everything that was just going on in my life and what you told me. Just anyway, it was making sense, but I was just in such a bubble of fear energetically. And so the point of the story is I then went, as you know, if you know me, you know I do love my Sims, The Sims 4. Been playing 26 years. Shout out. Anyway, I went to play The Sims and I was like, man, bump this life. And I kid you not, my Sims was glitching, surprise, the franchise was going down, but that's, for another day. Um, and then like one of the glitches that it was that I wasn't able to assign a personality to my Sim. And so I just had to randomize it. And then when I made her and she went into the world, I realized, oh my God, she looked exactly like the person that was in that dream walker's dream where she was with me. Number one. Number two, the computer, the game somehow assigned the three qualities, the same three qualities. It was lying, stealing, and there was one more that, yes, The Sims can do all that, by the way. It's a fun game. But anyway, I was like, oh my God, I was so blown away. I was thinking, oh my God, but that long story short, I'm explaining it to you, but in the moment, everything she looked the same. The sim that the computer generated was the same thing. And that goes to show you when you have a self-concept that is so strong and you're in that fear mode and it's so, so strong, you will literally manifest it right there for you. And that's why when you hit your rock bottom with something, boom, it changes overnight because the momentum, the movement of energy, the emotion, all of that has led so much to a decision in your consciousness that boom, magic overnight, just like that, right? So you have to understand, then I have many other stories as well, even more shocking than that one. I just can't think of anything right now, of course, to write it down. But the point is, you have to understand that the world is your own consciousness pushed outside, period. And if you don't understand it, don't sit here arguing with the screen. Go start looking it up. Go look it up. Reclaim your understanding of the actual missing link. The missing link is the role that energy plays in the life of humanity. We're moving out of the age of Pisces. Stop giving your belief system blindly to ideologies that rob you of the reality of what you are. So when you're at that self-concept and you start to really work with that, you will see it shift outside of you in your physical world, in the people you meet, the quality of people you meet, going left instead of right, walking headlong into favor instead of stress after stress after stress after stress. Things that you believe down here that you have no control over, when viewed even just from a little bit higher in the level of your field, it's like, dude, that was completely avoidable. You could have shifted that. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to bury anything under some moonlight on the 13th day of the this and that and call in the winds of the Caspian Sea. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be out here binding people and this and that and I reject you and no, you don't have to do all that. Leave all that stuff behind and stop wasting time with things outside of you. You go back to yourself and you start asking yourself, what do I believe to be true about myself? Do your best at the conscious mind level to sit there and find out. And if you do journaling, some of you do tapping, some of you work with lovely hypnotherapists, lovely therapists, group therapy, art therapy, you're jogging and you're getting inside. Some of you need a nice hot shower and things are just coming to you. Some of you need to have it reflected back to you by somebody in your world, right? Whatever this is, shadow work, dear God, is the holy grail. And I'm talking about it pretty much it's going to show you because what? The shadows are the things that you're choosing not to look at. But those things are like just just running your life like horses, just whoosh. They are the wild stallions in your life. Look at your shadows. This is what I'm saying, right? Anyway, so go back to self-concept. That's the law of consciousness, the law of mentalism. Everything in your world is a production of consciousness. Mind, thoughts are things that you are just experiencing. Then the law of correspondence, which corresponds, pun intended, to your third eye chakra, will do what? It will show you, it tells you everything that you see out in the world is reflecting back to you visually what you believe to be true about yourself, right? Then you go down to the throat chakra and you understand the law of vibration. What does that tell you? It tells you everything that you're hearing, you're experiencing, things that are, pushing you around, the nasty words you heard about somebody and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It's all doing what? Reflecting back to you, because it's all feedback, reflecting back to you the vibrations that you put out into the world, whether in this lifetime or other lifetimes. It's your vibrations pushed outward into the world. But what's driving that vibration? Your self-concept. If you think you're a loser, you're going to look out into the world. First of all, if you think you're a loser and you're a victim, which everybody in this world thinks to harsh levels because of the ages that have come before us, and the age of Pisces was a doozy, okay, for the victimhood that it really lashed into people. And so we have this concept that includes this idea that we're victims and we have to, you know, we're guilty, we're horrible people, we have to be saved and rescued and this and that, and we can only do that if we follow these rules, and if we do this is all age thinking, but we can't see it because we're so immersed in it. But when you start to look at that, and for example, if you think I'm a victim, even if you're like, I'm not, I've got my crown on, I'm this and that, and I said what I said, and all this pop culture stuff people are thinking they're saying, or I'm on my last lifetime and this, and let's just put all that away, right? But when you're moving from this concept of I'm a victim, despite your level of awareness of you believing that, when you look out into the world, you're just going to see victims and perpetrators. You're going to see persecution. You may even fancy yourself being a victim and having been victimized. Oh, you went through the car wash and this guy said that, or that person said, and oh my God, and I'm a victim and this and that, or all sorts of stuff. Or my sister-in-law, and it's always me, and martyrdom, all of that stuff. When you look out into the world, the law of correspondence tells you that you're going to see what you believe. The law of vibration tells you you're going to receive back in terms of high vibration energies or low vibration energies. The reflection of what you have vibrated out to you. And what you vibrated out to you is all based on your self-concept. If you believe yourself to be a victim, you're out here spewing fear. Right? And now the methods that you're using to stand up or to do whatever are fear-based, because you're not going into it by seeing yourself as love and as safe and as all of this. So your methods are going to be different. The energies with which you do these things are going to be different. You're going to be spreading victim consciousness through your vibration. Your expression, throat chakra, the things you write, the things that all of this is going to be a reflection of what? The battle going on in your head and consciousness. Then when you move into the heart space, we're no longer looking at, oh, the vibration and oh, your perception of what you see in the world. Now we're looking at your cycles. We're looking at the rhythm. We're looking at the flow. Are you in the flow? Are you respecting your divine timing? Are you allowing people to talk? Where's your empathy? Where's your heart? It's a heart chakra, right? You can see people like this sometimes. A mark of trauma, by the way, if you're talking to them, you ask them a question and they're like, oh, and they answer quickly and they try to over explain, and that's a mark of trauma because they've been around people we would call today narcissists, in the pop cultural space and stuff. They've been around these types of people, these narcissists, or these people who don't give them time to express themselves, to talk, to share what's on their heart, to feel safe, right? So they've learned that they have to clamp down and they have to speak quickly, or they won't speak, or they won't act, or they won't even want to be present at all because their spirit is broken. So if you're somebody who is out of alignment, you're always trying to rush, you're always trying to be slow, or you're not even having the empathy to allow other people to be in their cycles and things like that. This is being out of alignment with the rhythm. People who aren't respecting the cycles of nature. People who don't respect the cycles of their own femininity or the feminine cycles in others. This is not respecting the heart chakra and the law of rhythm, right? Let me see. So, oh, okay, so it's 55 minutes. I'm going to pause here and then I'm going to upload it so it can meet the time limits, and then I'm going to record no, I'm going to pause here, then I'm going to record the second part, and then I will post. Okay, so check back for part 2 where we're going to take a look at the rest of the chakras and the rest of the spiritual laws and how they correspond. And we're going to talk about some ways to really work within that. Hold on. Pauses. Mwah.